Tech Cocktail Conversations, candid insights from startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders from around the globe.
Gust is a platform that is basically intended to offer the opportunity to entrepreneurs and early stage investors to basically meet, have a pitch, follow the entire process through to the first round of funding, any subsequent rounds of funding, and even through the exit. So it's basically intended as a place for people to first meet each other and then to follow through and collaborate through the entire process of the early stage investment environment. 15 or 16% of our applications for investors come from entrepreneurs who are involved in web services and technology, but another 15% or so are involved in consumer products and services, about 5% in healthcare, and another 5% in clean tech. So we're seeing a lot of interesting and diverse interests in the marketplace beyond just technology. The crowdfunding aspect of it is really interesting. We're probably at the next stage beyond crowdfunding when somebody's already gotten through the basics, either friends and family or having gotten crowdfunding. So what we're really trying to focus on is, okay, what's going to come out of that crowdfunding environment? It's going to be really interesting to see in terms of what kinds of folks get funded, whether it'll be more like Kickstarter stuff that typically people invest in because of their interest in it as opposed to an investment per se. Now we're going to see what's going to happen in terms of crowdfunding from an investment perspective and what kind of things get funded. And I think what's going to be really interesting for us is then as they come out of that stage of crowdfunding and they want an A round of funding or a B round of funding, they'll be coming to our system basically to manage that process going forward. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see how well that crowdfunding does. I think there's a lot of hype around it. There may be a little bit too much. You're going to have issues with whether or not there'll be scams that are going to be run. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all gets managed. And for entrepreneurs, how they're going to manage over 100 or 200 investors when you're normally involved with just a handful. I think one time when I was giving a speech, it was very interesting. I thought I was giving this great speech, and it actually turned out that the sound system wasn't working. So I was up there, I was going along happily, thinking that everything was very fine, and then found out about halfway through my presentation, this was overseas, so it was being translated as well. So I was looking at the audience and was kind of wondering why I was getting these blank stares as I was talking, and only found out about halfway through the speech that nobody could hear me. It's a great time to be an entrepreneur. I think there's a lot of interest in the market. There's a lot of interest on the part of investors in getting involved. We're finding that there are a lot of folks who haven't traditionally been classified as angel investors who want to get into it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity right now for entrepreneurs to meet a much larger segment of the market on the investment side. So I think if you have a decent idea that you really feel strongly and passionately about, it's a great time to get into the market because we're just seeing a significant upward trend in the willingness of angels to make investments. There are a number of people that I've recently met. I mean, there are people like Dave McClure, Bill Payne, David S. Rose, who I work with at the company, are people who have been involved in angel investing for a number of years. I think what's most interesting about this and why I'm involved is I came from a background more at the public side of the market, where the Dow Jones kinds of companies, Dow Jones 500 and the like. I think this is really interesting because it's a chance to work with people who have great ideas, who are looking for the opportunity to work with the idea and make it possible to succeed in the market. And I think it's really a tremendous opportunity for us as a company to help that process, to really bring together the entrepreneurs and the investors who are willing to make it work.